a return of a lot of familiar faces, more so than new ones. Because ultimately, this is a lot of people that have been, like you said, they've been doing Sacrifice as well as Duel. So for the last 4 weeks, they've just lived and breathed Quake Champions. Because they really want to qualify for the World Championship. There's a $1 million prize pot, which is, I mean, if you're a Quake player, and you've been playing for as long as loads of these guys have, you now have that level of money in a game that is new, that everyone's really enjoying right now. You want to be able to get a piece of that. And that is why they have just invested so heavily into Quake Champions in both game modes right now. Some of them already qualified, some of them yet to. But ultimately, I mean, we are in that awkward situation where only one of them can. And this is going to be one of those 2 familiar faces, but only one of them is going to make it, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way it works.
That's the nature of tournaments, I think. One will lose and one will move on. That's just the way it goes, and there's nothing you can do about it. Whoever plays better on the day, whoever's going to be more prepared. Speaking of preparation, these guys at this point know that this first map's going to be Blood Run, because every single match we will play, the first predetermined map at this stage of the tournament is 100% going to be Blood Run. So you've got time to, especially we've gone quite a few series in so far, that's a lot of time to understand that, right, we're going to play on Blood Run, and I need to be as ready as possible. So just to read a tweet right there, Quake to me is what soccer is for other people. So I really enjoy all the high-level Quake World Championship matches. That sweetens my Sundays. And I think that's, I agree with that. Like certain games that, if you are as involved in a competitive game as a lot of other people are to competitive sports, like basketball, football, whatever it may be, then you can really get behind these guys. You can get behind the teams and Sacrifice, but if it's 1v1, you get behind individual players. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Who's your favorite player that you've watched so far?
In all of Quake?
Yeah.
It's hard, because earlier on,
I think I know what you want to say.
My favorite player to watch is Cypher, but we haven't had the opportunity to see Cypher because he qualified early, so we haven't actually had the chance to see him for a while in you know, at least the World Championship stuff. I think recently, I really have quite enjoyed watching Evil. I think his clutch is just really, in what is effectively now a sea of clutch. Like, there are a lot of clutch players going right now. I think his kind of stands out the most right now, just because of how he plays it particularly. But I also like Toxic, because Scale Bearer is my favorite champion, and I think Toxic has the funnest Scale Bearer to watch.
For me, it's Agent. Agent, for me, I'm a big clutch guy. I played clutch before he was cool, day one. Just to get that out there.
That's what they all say when they can't play him. When,
the classic is, now, where were you day one? That's the classic.
No, that is the classic, and you know why? Because back when Clutch wasn't so good and no one played him, you felt like you were good at the game because you played a champion that no one played. And now people have a reason to play him, players that are better than you are. Now you got to cling on to something, right? You got, okay, well, you know, I played him before, even though maybe not now so much because other people.
But for me, it's Agent, because he was there since, like, the very beginning. Like, the second Clutch received those massive changes.
Agent got those buffs.
Agent got those buffs. That's not what I'm saying. Because there's 2 weeks in a row you've accidentally insulted Clutch players all around. But anyway, yeah, I know. But Clutch in general, since he got those buffs, Agent was like there in the forefront. Like week 1, he was straight in there.
I think he might have actually been the first Clutch player we saw.
I feel like
I think he was the first.
I feel like he sort of defined the champion, or at least the champion as we know him at the moment. But that's what Quake Champions has done so far, in that players are currently able to really put their mark on specific champions using maybe previous experience, or just the champion fits a game plan that they really like. You know, so we saw earlier on, like we saw Galena specialists go to town with Galena on every map, and it was Galena gameplay that we hadn't really seen in the World Championship before. I believe it was in week 2 when we saw Toxic. There was a big discussion about Slash, and it's like, well, why does no one use Slash? Does Slash have a place in the game? This and that and this and that. And Toxic brought out the Slash on Ruins of Sarnath, and being the Quake 4 legend that he is, used the Quake 4 champion and was just zipping around the map, and was a huge factor into why he won that map, because he had the movement that Slash brought to the table. And that's just one of many, many examples. You see Cypher with his amazing LG. We saw his Blaskovich put in mad work in week number 1. It just takes a game plan that you do really well, and the champions and their abilities really sort of put an exclamation mark on that, I think.
You need to play the right champions for the way you play the game. If the champion is good at emphasizing what makes you best as a player, then that is a match made in heaven, and that is just going to naturally synergize. On that topic, we have some players here that we haven't seen since week number 1. The game, or, you know, we keep saying, you know, quote unquote, the meta, I suppose, of how the game is starting to develop right now, has changed a lot in the last 4 weeks. So what do you expect to see? Do you think we're going to see a lot more of the tried and true of the week? Like a lot of, I mean, Clutch, Ranger, Nyx seems to be like the most popular 3 we've seen so far, bar none. I know a big part of that is we're obviously starting on Blood Run, so we're seeing a lot more Galena than usual, perhaps, and some other champions. Like, for example, Ranger has always been a good pick on Blood Run. Do you think that's going to sort of remain true today, or are we going to see maybe a little bit of differences, considering there is it's a first to 2 maps, small series now, and what is every player's last chance here?
Truly, I think it heavily depends on what the player at the time feels they want to do. Because if you go for a pick that is not traditional at this stage, it might be a comfort pick or one that you're trying to almost catch someone off guard with. But at the same time, there is a lot on the line right now. Clutch at this stage is a very safe pick. Galena on Blood Run is a safe pick. It's picked so often because she commands so much of the map and can deny teleporters, which is a huge deal, and give herself health back whenever she needs. That's great on Blood Run, so her is a safe pick. I think that's another reason we see so much Galena, because it's just a map that she fits really well. Outside of that, it depends on how brave the players are feeling.
I
If
think
they're going to play it safe, we're probably going to see a lot more of the traditional.
I think it's just important to have a diverse champion pool at your disposal.
Well, Zoot proved that, didn't he?
I was about to say, yeah, like case in point, Zoot every week leading up until this point had Ranger, Nyx, and Anarchy as like his designated 3 champions that he'd use as a team. Today, in his final map, he brought out Clutch instead and ended up doing well with Clutch, making enough of a difference that had he not done that, he might not have won his series. It's important to be diverse and to be unpredictable, and that is proven week after week after week. The closer we get to these regionals, the more that's going to become apparent, and it's very much have your favored champions for the maps as opposed to just one team that you want to sort of cover everything, because I just don't think it's going to work out that way.
There's a lot of diversity. There's no getting around that. The maps themselves bring diversity, the champions bring diversity, and they have their own place and their own effectiveness. And that's why we see things like BJ Blazkowicz pick so much on Corrupted Keep, for example, because that's just a map that he fits like a glove. The meta of that map, he kind of goes against that because everyone picks tanky champions. He's a direct answer for that. It's close quarters. He's a direct answer for any champion with that damage output. Just to give you guys a quick update on what's going on. Currently trying to determine what server the 2 guys will play on, because sometimes there can be a little bit of difference between, there's a bit of distance between the 2 players. So we're trying to sort of find what the best neutral server is to pick, where it's like an even playing field for both players. So while we determine that, we're going to be up and running as soon as possible. To give you guys some games we're going to be playing shortly afterwards. Obviously, our matchup right now is Luminus versus Latrommi. We have Cephis versus Hell, so we're going to see Hell playing again. Part of the bias in me wants to see another UK boy take it. I want to see a UK guy in the regionals. Well, more UK guys, I should say, because Zoot's already qualified. Proximo versus Backstein, and Karwick versus Jox. So out of all these matches, I'm actually really probably excited to see the Hell match the most, because this guy's been in the top 16 so many times already. He's been on stream loads of times. I feel like this is his time to finally make it.
But we'll find out soon. We now crossed the halfway mark already as well. So we're down 4 series. We have 4 left to go.
Just over halfway through at this point.
Indeed. So let's just quickly reflect. Who have we seen qualify already out of the 4? So we've just seen Evil do so.
Yep. So the first series of the night was Zoot versus Gaia. Although it was really, really close, Zoot was able to take that one. So we'll be seeing him again. Chronic versus Buckster. Now, talking of close, that one was as close as it gets. Last minute, the last possible champion, and 1 frag was in it between one person being out for good and one person finally breaking that barrier and getting into the regionals. Really super close. I mean, Buckster was on the verge of making a comeback. You could visibly see that Chronic was a little bit flustered about what had happened. You know, he lost 1 frag and then immediately lost his second champion.
Last map, last round, last champion, almost timeout. Like, I don't think it can physically become closer than that. And that was just our second set of the day.
But yeah, so Chronic moved on in that one. We did just see Evil versus Pavel. Pavel really had to work for his placement spot in this Sunday's playoffs, where he fought on Thursday, and it was this close. I even believe there was like a disconnect in there, like at the worst possible time, and they opted to run the map back. So they run that round back. So that was like super close, and Pavel clutched it out at the last possible moment, and they reset into the next map, and Pavel took that again in clean, close fashion.
Evil today.
Yeah,
and Evil was able to take that.
In his first week, Evil's first week in the Quake World Championships, and he was able to come off on top. And we just saw Memphis versus Luke IE, where Luke IE took that as well. So that sort of marked our halfway point, and it's been a long day. I think some of these sets and series have been significantly longer than they have been before.
Well, you know, we started at 11 o'clock and we're now at 3, so 4 hours, about an hour per series, give or take. So definitely what we expected to see at the very least. We know duels can very dramatically, depending on how sort of quick they are and how fast they can be, depending on how the players play it. Really, if we have like particularly aggressive players, it can be almost as short as like 20 minutes to half an hour. But if the players are really taking their time, which we kind of hope they will be with what's on the line, it can almost go to like an hour time. But if you're playing for like an hour against the same person non-stop, that can be a bit of a test of your endurance, I think. Especially considering how close some of these rounds can be, and to have some of them go down to the absolute wire and to then lose that round, you have to have some next level composure to keep yourself together, to be able to then win the next round, and then the round after that, then the round after that. It seems to, and with the amount of concentration that Quake Champions requires you to have all the time, that doesn't really make that easier.
That can be quite stressful. I mean, you're playing for an hour in a series, and you've got to be focused 100% of the time, because you've got to be accurate, you've got to be fast, you've got to have good execution.
Timers, audio, aim, positioning, map awareness, respawn awareness, champion awareness, cooldowns on abilities, cooldowns on respawn timers, like all sorts. And even at calculating damage, right? Okay, like how much armor do they have? What damage did I just do? How much have they got left now? Do I chase? Do I not? Where do I go? Like, where do I be quiet? Where do I try and bait?
But it's all in the space of a split second.
Yeah.
Like, these are all decisions that you don't even have time to think about it. You just got to go with your gut instinct. You've got to go with your game sense. And a lot of the time, you don't have time to think about what you're going to do. You just got to do it. And either it's right or it's wrong.
And that's just fundamental decision making, which I think helps out a lot of players.
This is where experience comes into it.
Yeah, and speaking of experience, like from all the way to the start to now, we have so many just straight up like legends of Quake, especially in Europe, that have entered from the start until now. And they have years, and I'm talking years and years and years
some of these guys,
Quake experience.
Some of these guys have been competing in Quake longer than some of us have even been alive. Because Quake is such a legacy title. It's the original competitive FPS, right? Which means that some of these guys, they competed when they were this big, and now they're full-grown adults with all kinds of crazy stuff going on, where Quake was the beginning of all of it, and then here we are, you know, wind the clock forward, and $1 million over a course of a couple of months is quite an impressive turnaround.
But you know, to get to the bottom line, you do not play Quake for that long without picking up a few things about fundamentals on how to play Quake along the way. And that's what we see a lot now. You know, be it composure in competitive environments, be it learning a new Quake or, you know, multiple versions of Quake while the core mechanics kind of stay the same. Be it, you know, playing against people for the first time. How do you take to a new opponent? How do you remember how certain opponents that, you know, for example, a lot of these guys are playing in Quake Champions against other people they've played in other Quakes before. And do you remember certain things about those players? Do you still have mental notes about how they actually play themselves?
Does it even copy over the champions,
exactly.
Or is it irrelevant?
And you've got to think of all this at all times while you're playing. And like you said, that can be like an hour or maybe even half an hour if it's being quite quick. And it can definitely sort of shoot by.
So while we get this match up and running, guys, once again, apologies, just sort of getting a server set up. Sometimes this can take a while. The guys are playing for as much as they are. You can't really faff around. You've got to make sure that you are as prepared as possible playing for $1 million. And once again, this is the 4th and final week. So if they lose now, they're going home. But while we get set up, just to remind you guys to get involved on social media. You can follow us at ESL Quake. You can also follow Quake Champions on Twitter as well. Tweet at us using the hashtag QWC or Quake Champions. And let us know what you think of the tournament so far. Who's your favourite player? What teams are you looking forward to in Sacrifice? What's your favourite series of the day? There's been some good ones. How happy are you that Zoot has made it? This guy's quite a fan favourite, so it's good to see him make it through. Anything and anything, you know, make sure you let us know, and we'd love to hear your feedback. And sometimes your comments can feature on the stream itself, like you did just see earlier on. On the subject of Sacrifice, Duel or Sacrifice on the regionals? What one do you think has the scope to be the most juicy?
I'm just trying to think of how we were on the topic of Sacrifice before that.
I mentioned Sacrifice.
I kind of think we're not on the topic of Sacrifice.
I mentioned Sacrifice in the tweet. I thought it was going to be more subtle than it was, but the question still stands. Juicy matches.
I've already forgotten the question. Please repeat.
The question was, Sacrifice or Duel, what matches do you think have the highest scope to be juicy?
I actually want to watch Sacrifice. I miss Sacrifice. It's already been 2 weeks, and I really miss seeing it. The first time I saw Sacrifice, I was like, "This is chaotic. Like, how do we follow this?" But then the more we saw it, and the more strategies, because the big thing about Sacrifice for me is team composition.
Yep.
And how champions make such a big difference on maps, particularly. And you know, Lockbox was explosive all the time. We had some of the closest matches we have ever seen in European Sacrifice, and when you get down to sort of those later stages and it becomes a match of all those sort of, you know, fundamental Quake things we were talking about are amplified in Sacrifice, because now you've got a team of 4 people against 4 people that are doing the same thing, and now you've got actual objectives on top of that to worry about and designated roles for champions, which I think is fascinating. And I think I'm looking forward to watching Not Too Fast the most, because they seem to have the most clear-cut kind of like jobs to do of all the teams we saw, in my opinion.
So on top of Not Too Fast, of which it's a European super team, it's Miasma, right? It's off the top of my head, trying to remember it because it's a unique word. But the team with DDK and co, you know, those guys that
they looked unstoppable.
They went in prepared, and they were confident on Twitter. They were confident on social media, and they're saying, "Guys, we are ready for this qualifier. You will see us at QuakeCon, and you're going to see why." But either way, we are ready to play another series of Duel. This is once again the final qualifying week. If you lose this, you are out for good. And look at this team comp. We have Sorlag, Anarchy, and Nyx on the side of Latrommi, and Luminus has Visor, Ranger, and Nyx as well. So this is a little bit more of a traditional team comp that we've saw a lot of Galenos and a lot of Clutch today. This is where things get a little bit more old school, I think, and already a frag goes on the side of Luminus.
Wow, and that was all thanks to the nail gun as well. Look at that damage adding up out of nowhere completely. A lot of damage coming out. Is that going to tick enough? The final tick takes him down. Latrommi with a return frag instantly.
Final
30
countdown.
seconds. Oh, and another one!
What is it with the first frags of the day? I mean, that's 3 frags in less than 40 seconds. That has to be a first of today.
Oh my lord, we might see our 4th. There's the Ghost Walk. Now they're going to be getting away. Oh, he sees him on the railgun. He hasn't seen him behind him though, and another frag! Wow, less than a minute and round 1 is already done. Oh my days.
So we've just seen really close matches time and time again, some of which that go well over 5 minutes into overtime. But here we go, into like less than a minute for the first round. If that's foreshadowing for an unbelievably fast-paced and exciting series, I'm very excited.
A couple of rails. Seems happy to just get this aggression underway. Or the Dirob doesn't quite connect. Yeah, he's trying to get away here.
Good confidence there from Latrommi, actually. At no point did he change his aim towards that Dirob. He knew Luminus wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, Latrommi's really rushing him down now, though. Luminus could be in trouble here. Rocket's coming through. Yeah, Latrommi realized that Luminus didn't have access to a rocket, so he just rushed him down.
If you're Anarchy and you're point blank and you're going to challenge that quick rail, if they miss a rail and they've got nothing else, then you're just going to wreck them during the downtime between shots, like Luminus just did to Latrommi. If you miss a rail, the gap in between shots is so significant, you'll just get destroyed before you can fire again.
This is the most aggressive gameplay we've seen all day, but to sort of back it up, we actually aren't seeing almost like perfect accuracy in return, you know what I mean? Like if it was aggression and you're landing everything, then that's amazing, but it's almost like a bit frantic.
They're going to trade a rail for rail, but that trade is going to be in Latrommi's favor 100% with that health and armor. Chasing it down with the rocket as well. Taken down already. Visor gone. Nyx left.
Always go back the mega health. We've seen how dangerous Sorlag can be when he's very healthy, but goes down immediately. Super nail gun says hello. 20 damage per nail. That's going to add up very quick if you are accurate.
Especially if you've got that chunky hitbox. And Nyx mirror. Instantly diving forward. I think probably expecting a prediction rocket through that teleporter.
Mega health's going to be up soon. A big fight going to be playing out for this.
It's not up for a few seconds though, so I wonder who's going to... It's going to be Latrommi who manages to take it. And that's a great situation, actually. The read of heavy armor. Ouch!
That one was not ready for that.
I just don't even think he had time to react to that one. He saw it, and it's like he tried to move, but at that point he was already dead.
I mean, we've got very high-quality headphones here, and I vaguely heard it get closer and closer until it ultimately connected.
It's like when you watch a movie in 3D and actually something flies towards the screen, you just shunder at it. A very aggressive start, but unfortunately Luminus actually fumbles his Dirob, so he's going to fall straight back down. He's not going to have that upward control, but did good damage to Latrommi anyway, so even though he missed his Dirob, it's not really much of a punishing mistake. This is definitely a change of pace from what we've seen before.
Oh, but already, like, Latrommi's trying to get aggressive, trying to get this fight really close proximity, but Luminus just has the most health to deal with it.
Unfortunately, I mean, now he's got the armor, so it's going to be better, but the health by itself really, it is never going to be enough. If you get caught off guard by a rail or a rocket of any high amount of damage with no armor and you're Anarchy, you're pretty much dead.
Well, the longer Quake Champions is going to be available, the more we're going to see direct rockets like that. You know, people are getting so much better at hitting those max damage direct, especially against people that are right in their face. And Latrommi forcing the fight to be point blank every time, but consistently he is coming off worse in the trades. Keep in mind, he is always getting out of these fights on barely any health left, but he's still using his injection in the middle of them. You know, he's effectively going through 2 health bars, but I understand it. He's trying to catch him off guard and just force him to fight. At times he probably doesn't want to, but ultimately, when you just look at the health and armor that Luminus has.
One more rocket will do him. 50 health. Can he survive long enough? No, misses the rail.
And again, Latrommi is kept alive. Latrommi's doing a good job of just calculating when it's a good time to get out of the fight and when it's good to stay.
Trying to really pick off Luminus. Take the health down when you can get it. Fight later. But so far, Luminus has been so consistently stacked above him at all times. That said, it feels like in this round, Luminus hasn't really been able to close it out so far. He's done the damage, but he's not been doing enough damage.
And this, we actually do see this quite often, where it just comes down to that one final rocket, that one final rail, and it doesn't connect. This does happen. Latrommi going down to Lightning Gun. Luminus is going to take him out. And already overhealed. Plenty of life left.
Haven't seen a huge amount from Sorlag just yet. Going in for the die roll. Not even going to go for the rocket jump to take unnecessary damage. Yeah, that 100 damage. But the rail missed. Missed again! Oh, that was a couple of rails that, yeah, definitely didn't want to miss.
Yeah, Luminus is going to be kicking himself for that one, I think. But he's going to go up to the visor. He's popped the piercing sight. He's going to know where he is.
They go back to back, but Luminus is more than happy to take that rail, especially seeing as he's just been able to secure the Mega. Going in for the acid, but unfortunately actually tagged by big damage right as he activated the acid, so he was unable to fire his weapon for that split second. I mean, yeah, he is able to see where he comes from, and somehow actually the acid's still ticking down. I feel like Luminus took ticking damage and then ran back into the acid pool or something.
Perhaps, but regardless, he is going to get the Mega Health, so he's back up to plentiful to work with. Show me a little bit of armor, but let's not forget, any armor is good.
Minuscule damage on the rocket so far, taking so much LG, and although Visor, I believe, might have got hit, no, ever so slightly missed him, so...
Oh! Tried to jump over the acid, but didn't make it to the armor in time.
A valiant attempt.
But fortunately for him, Latrommi wasn't in position to punish him for that mistake.
And the Mega too.
Oh,
the gap between health and armor just got pretty significant right there. At this point, Luminus can just save his ability, wait for the invisibility to come through, and then use his piercing sight to find him.
Latrommi's going to have to watch out, though. He has 1 minute to make a move. Get one rail, hit 2 rails. One more rail and he's going to die.
I think he knows it. Running head first, but he hasn't seen him go invisible. That's a free shot! But he had the armor to tank it, and he had the armor. Even though he had 75 health, the armor was going to happily let him tank that final rail. If it wasn't for the armor,
had the jump on him, though. 100% had the jump on him. He came out of the ghost walk. The assassination was there, but unfortunately, it just didn't quite land on the mark. And once again, we see Luminus right there with the rockets ready to do max damage.
No, Latrommi sees that Mega. You would never have really guessed it looking at the health value. Luminus did such a high amount of damage in that exchange.
Oh, he thought it was going to come around the corner, I think.
If not, just covering his own base. No rail so far. I think Luminus thinks it might be a little bit risky with Latrommi lying in wait, just like that.
As soon as he poked his head around, he did get tagged, so... It was right to be suspicious.
Nice rail. Good shot. It's forced Latrommi to run, and more importantly, opened up that space for the heavy armor.
Oh, he's up the top. LG going to start doing a lot of damage here. Oh, that's the truth.
Now, he's down to Sorlag again, but once again, we really haven't seen the Sorlag be able to do anything significant just yet.
Oh, he jumped down on him. Oh, that's 100 damage to Irob. No, Tribot was not going to be the right weapon for the job, but the railgun is.
Doesn't really matter, I suppose. Just like that, he's lost 2 champions already. He's down to his Nyx again. But he's had a hard time. And that, yeah, that's it. Even though he's used the invisibility, he is so weak now. Luminus is in full control of this entire map. As long as Latrommi is low on HP.
Uh-oh.
He's right behind him.
Uh-oh. Oh, a quick defensive rail.
There he is, waiting for the die roll. Nice read, executed perfectly.
Yeah, Latrommi was ready there. Almost fell victim to it, but he just had that caution on deck. Gonna bag himself the mega health too. Now, this won't be an impossible comeback. It's Visor versus Nyx, so the escape option won't be quite as viable, but if Luminus uses the piercing sight to find him and then fight, Latrommi's still gonna have the escape option.
You can tell Luminus does not want to overextend. The second he made his move, he's trying to deny the area with the super nail gun. Does manage to do it. Minimal damage for the exchange of the heavy armor. Perfectly weighted out by Luminus.
Oh, big railgun, 10 health.
Still in trouble though.
Yeah, looks like Luminus didn't have the piercing sight ready to go.
Even with 75 health, with no armor, it's still one-shot situation. Luminus hits a single rail. Seeing Latrommi retreat, trying to get some of that armor. Definitely needs it. Now he's going to tank an extra shot. Very important. Plenty of time to make something happen. But Luminus has been so consistently in control of the health items that Latrommi is always behind. Would have heard the mega health go, so he now knows, again, Luminus is going to be super healthy for this fight.
Oh, there's the Ghost Walk.
Oh,
the
no.
piercing sight. This is going to be a fight for sure. He's not going to get away. He's getting chased down. 18 health. Oh, the rail misses.
Very important that that rail didn't connect for Latrommi to stay alive. The man just speaks Russian, you know you ain't getting away. It's a scary situation to deal with.
Latrommi's looking for, Luminus, I should say, is looking for him.
Just being defensive as possible. The second he hears him not around, I think he's going to try and make his move, but now he's safe to move around for a split second.
He picked up 1 health. Oh no! Luminus must have thought he ran through the portal. God, listen to Visor. His movement noises are quite intimidating.
Oh! Oh! There's that reaction. Answering back. I mean, you can't get away. He tried to go for the heavy armor, but at the end of the day, you're essentially trying to seize a heavy armor with your invisibility, but you're not going to safely seize it because the second piercing sight is used on reaction to counter your invisibility. You're right there. You may as well not be invisible at all. You're not going to be able to defend yourself against the inevitable stream of lightning gun that he just took.
But it makes you wonder, just because you didn't hear him use piercing sight doesn't mean that he hasn't used it. And I feel like sometimes, when you really kind of need those resources to make that bit of a comeback, I think. When it's 2 versus 1, it's still a bit of a comeback if you do manage to take that one down. But if you do desperately need those resources, like the armor, the health, you sometimes have to make that read. Like, has he used it? Does he have it on ready? And even if he does, if I pick it up in time, I'm going to be able to survive. But because he got caught by that lightning gun at such an angle, like, let's not forget, when you get hit by the lightning gun, you do sort of get pushed in the direction it's hitting.
Yeah, as long as you're generally like what is considered airborne. So
if you're
up there, you're going to be airborne because it's so far away.
If you're being pinned against a wall, you're not just going to be able to run away. And if you've just used your Ghost Walk to get it, as Nyx, you ultimately have nothing left to get yourself out of that situation. Unless you kill him before he kills you, when you just have that much less health. Maybe he thought he could take the fight because he did just pick up the heavy armor, but ultimately, we know that Visor is quite a deceivingly tanky champion by his own merit, so unlikely to happen, I think.
So the only big body we really saw in that match was Sorlag, and in that match in particular, Sorlag wasn't really able to do a huge amount. It was just nice spacing, keeping away from the acid spit, so we didn't really see the acid spit achieve a whole lot. When we did, it was minimal tick damage that was sort of rectified by either a pickup or an ability that kind of counteracted it. We've consistently seen people go to Corrupted Keep today, but I think that's because we've seen a lot of Clutch. We haven't seen Clutch picked at all in this series, so is the chance of Corrupted Keep nowhere near as prominent because some of these Corrupted Keep champions haven't been picked on Blood Run?
I'm not really too sure. We have already seen all 4 maps today, just in varying different amounts. We've seen like Ruins of Sarnath once, Blood Covenant once. For the most part, it has been Corrupted Keep and Blood Run, but ultimately it's going to be Corrupted Keep once again. Do we see a lineup change?
We'll soon find out. The Sorlag gets selected once more. Luminus going with... Yeah, so again, a couple of very sort of traditional team comps where we've got Ranger, Anarchy, Visor, Nyx, The usual stuff.
However, for the first time today, Corrupted keep with no Clutch and with no Blazkowicz, which is a bit of a change.
Quite rare, really, to see that. But this means that we're likely to see, I think, a bit more of a traditional duel matchup, where it's not going to be so much about making sure that on spawn, don't let Clutch near the rocket launcher. On spawn, stay away from Blazkowicz because he's got dual wield or use an ability to counteract his. There's going to be elements of that as always, but I feel like, we're going to see a lot more just traditional Anarchy, fast movement, trying to make sure that he plays a hit and run, fast-paced style. Nyx is going to be much of the same, where it's try and catch people off, and then when you're in danger, use the Ghost Walk. All stuff that we've seen a lot of times before. We just so happen to be on Corrupted Keep with no rail. It's going to be a similar matchup with just no rail.
The rail was helpful in the last match for sure though, but I actually think a lot of the damage actually came down to Lightning Gun. Lightning Gun and Rocket were kind of like the true real weapons in that first map between these two players, particularly. Obviously both of them are back here. Whether we'll see them fight for the Rocket at the start, I think it remains to be seen. Luminus getting a bit of an interesting spawn. Unfortunately, kind of put not really super close to anything. But Latrommi, once again, Latrommi being super aggressive and one bullet away from taking the fight, but died first again.
Matching the super nail gun at the very beginning was a bit risky, but even with the Mega or something else. Oh no, lines!
Oh, hello.
That was just...
Where did you come from, friend?
Lizard out of nowhere, in your face, double barrel. There comes big damage, but again, Visor can't really escape. Misses the acid, but doesn't matter, because Latrommi again gets that frag. This is going to be an advantage Latrommi will have. In these up-close confrontations, he's got a champion with a massive health and armor pool. And I feel like after that round, that might be foreshadowing. Every single time Latrommi caught him point blank with a tanky champion, he just out-survived him.
Maybe that's why we saw Latrommi go to this map, because you have very little room to run away. And Latrommi very clearly seems to favor just rushing you down in your face and trying to kill you as fast as possible. I see him going straight to the Rocket because he knows that's his key.
Well, he's going to know that Luminus has prioritized going in for the Mega Health instead. So going for heavy armor and then Rocket with the speed of Anarchy is quite almost guaranteed.
A little bit more stable this time though. Luminus is able to sort of keep that distance on him. Oh, nice big 70 damage Rocket. All behind him. Luminus goes down immediately. Latrommi ready with it. And the Mega Health seconds away from spawning as well as the heavy armor.
Nice trail, forcing out the Ghost Walk, but very late. If he can get a good read on when he re-emerges, which is right there. Wow, Luminus can't compete. What a turnaround. You can see why this map was selected. Luminus is having a really hard time.
And again, the shotgun is all he has. Luminus consistently trying to fight with just a super shotgun.
Without a rocket launcher, his options are... Without a rocket launcher, his options are quite limited here because Latrommi is controlling the LG so well and consistently.
I mean, this map looking all Latrommi right now. Luminus just doesn't seem to be able to get into the groove that Latrommi is just forcing on him.
Trying to go in for the Mega, but unfortunately mistimes it. There was still 3 seconds until the Mega spawned.
Been in less than 5 minutes on this map, and we are already 1 round away from it being evened up.
This will definitely be the fastest game of the night if it's a straight 3-0 like this.
I think it all comes down to this first frag. If Latrommi can get that first one down with Anarchy, then it's very hard to stop him, I think. And with straight to Rocket again.
It's exactly the same start.
He got there first.
And he's beat him to it, so it's going to be even harder for him to recover. Going in for the injection, still got a little bit of armor. He's going to be nice and quick going in. The reaction on the invisibility. But he's not going to have that for quite a while. Just look at how weak he is. Latrommi has been off to a flying start on all 3. Catches a Rocket. Will it be enough for it? Minimal damage on all 3 of them. Luminus does connect his.
I like how Luminus actually opted to start with Nyx this time as well instead of the Ranger. So if he does get himself stuck in that sort of sticky situation with that Anarchy to fight with first, he has got access to that Ghost Walk. So if he does get sort of pinned against the wall, he can escape for free.
He did lose Anarchy last time. Nice trail on the LG.
Connected though.
Oh no, Sorlag just picked up all that health. Chasing it down was a death sentence with the amount of health that Sorlag had. And
he's still 1 hit away from death, basically.
Yeah, 2 to 5.
Luminus can find him now. He's definitely going to go down, but waiting for the heavy armor. Yeah, he got it. Right, Latrommi once again, alive.
Latrommi made a massive sequence comeback in that first round with Sorlag. It was just non-stop. It was like a light switch. Wonder if he can do it again. Surprise.
Very low. Trying to zone him off with the acid.
I think he used the acid there as well, because I mean, if I get killed, then I may as well die having it used rather than die with it. Now the mission needs to be to heal up. He's going to have to concede that Mega.
Goes down, heavy army he's probably going to get. Yes, he does.
Doubles back. Luminus really doesn't want to give up that high ground. That's where, if he's on the floor, that's going to where that acid spit and rockets combined. A much more dangerous situation to get hit on the ground than up top. I feel like Latrommi's done a good job of just sort of stacking back up, really. Here comes the acid to deny it. He's going to take big damage if he wants the Mega, and he doesn't even manage to get it. Unfortunately, Latrommi gets it again. And now he is going super fast. Oh, he is going way faster than Visor can possibly go in the midair. And absolutely destroyed. That was a good map choice.
I can't believe it's over already. Good lord. One map apiece instantly.
Latrommi did not even need his Ranger at any point.
No, he did not.
Throughout that entire map. That was a 2-champion map.
That was, without a doubt, the fastest map we have had so far today. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. And it makes you think, when you've got no space to move and you're forced to fight, I mean, that clearly seems to be the way Latrommi likes to play. He likes to just get the nearest weapon that he can mess you up with, find you, and then just do everything he can to kill you straight away.
It was pretty much an exact same game plan across both Anarchy and Sorlag. It's just with Sorlag, he wasn't going to get there as fast, but he had the health to make sure that it counted more when he was point blank. And when it was Anarchy, it was just unbelievable aggression. He got a couple of really good starts, respawned right near heavy armor, and then made the quick run all the way to rocket launcher. So that was a fantastic start for him. And he immediately would then just go in. The only adaptation we saw in that third and final round was when Luminus opted to go for Nyx first instead. And it actually worked out because he got caught off guard in the third round the exact same way, but because he was Nyx, he was able to use Ghost Walk to survive, and it let him survive just a little bit longer. It just wasn't enough to win the round.
But we even saw Latrommi do that in round 1 when the nearest weapon he started with was the nail gun. He still stuck to the game plan. But looks like Blood Covenant is going to be our final map of the series. Latrommi going back to these first two again. Luminus, yeah, that tried and true pick for him. So that reliable 3, and Latrommi has Visor as well now.
Blood Covenant. It's a great map for Visor. He has so much vision on everywhere on the map, while at the same time, it's very easy for... On Blood Covenant in particular, you're going to see a lot of Anarchy, you're going to see a lot of Nyx and Ranger, champions that can navigate anywhere they want to go easily. If you're going to be Visor, then having that vision whenever you want to either make a play or go for a certain item, having those eyes is unbelievably important, because your opponent can be anywhere at any given moment. Being able to see where they are at any given moment is a matched tactic, I think.
Especially if, you know, someone's bringing the Nyx. Well, we have already seen Visor do really well versus Nyx today.
Yeah, because it doubles up really, doesn't it, in utility?
Yeah. So you have just the general awareness where they're going to be, or if you have it for a fight and Nyx wants to Ghost Walk away, pop Piercing Sight, follow her around. So it's kind of one of those multi-layered things. But it also means that you can't obviously have it ready for all situations. If you use Piercing Sight to find one and then they get away, you can't chase them down. Or vice versa. If you just don't have it, then obviously it's not going to work out for you. We're going to be starting things off, so it's going to be a Ranger start once again. I assume Latrommi is going to be going with Anarchy as always. Yes, he is. Also, Latrommi has decided to skip on the Sorlag this time.
No Sorlag at all. Opted to, I guess in some ways, exchange the health pool for extra utility.
Maybe, but Luminus taking a bit of a hit there. Now has a rail of his own, but might be a little bit too late. No, he is able to get away with his life.
Luminus still quite low. But that said, think about a change and exchange the Mega Health for the heavy armor. They completely swap it around. Wow, here comes Latrommi though. Point blank, but considering they were so close to each other, minimal damage exchanged.
Quite surprised to see that, actually. And they both had rockets.
Oh, misses the rail. Misses a couple. Missing those rails against Anarchy can be quite costly, especially if he's the one that's actually returning fire back at you, but not so far.
Oh! Almost get hit by that rail on the way up. Interesting, Latrommi doesn't quite seem to be rushing the same way. Maybe it's because he's just got more space to work with, or oh! Big damage coming through, but there's the injection to keep himself alive.
That's such an important tool for Ranger, is that unlike most of the champions, he is able to somewhat negate the gap in between the rail shots, where he can fire his rail and then immediately throw his dire orb in between the cooldown of the rail shots. So it's almost like a three-piece combo where it's rail shot, you know, rail, dire orb, rail. And it massively increases his ability to do damage. You don't really see Rangers go for it a lot, but when we see it, it's so
very punishing, I suppose. I mean, it's already quite difficult to hit Anarchy with a rail from most distances. Oh, like that.
It's because the rail. It's because the rail hit him first. It just knocked his aim up ever so slightly. Oh, here comes Latrommi, going in for the kill. Will he chase it all the way, or is he just trying to sort of command the high ground of the stage? This is the air rail, so Luminus is going to try and press the advantage a little bit. Meeting him face first into a rocket.
You can face me. Yeah, Latrommi going to lose Anarchy first. First casualty of the game.
Goes to show that if you get caught slipping in the smallest amount of time with Anarchy, you can just get deleted. Doesn't matter how good it feels like you're doing. If you get hit by one rocket at a bad time, you're dead. That's why you see Anarchy players, they're so careful while at the same time making sure if they do navigate around the map, they are going as fast as possible. Getting hit by those mid-airs is a lot more unlikely, but still possible.
In a dramatic change of pace though, 3 minutes into this round.
I'm fairly certain 3 minutes was the length of the last 2 rounds that we saw on Corrupted Keep.
Basically, but every second that goes down though, Luminus is going to be in the lead as we approach the timeout potential. Oh, especially now though, 3-1, Latrommi's forced to make this visor comeback.
Basically a minute and a half at this stage. That's a tall ask. Unfortunately fumbles his rocket jump, which is going to let Latrommi kind of maybe capitalize, but with how stacked Luminus is it enough? Gets caught airborne with 15 HP to spare. He gets the first round, and Luminus is back in it.
If Luminus died there, that would have all been down to that fumbled rocket jump. Makes you think just how punishing certain seemingly minor mistakes can be, but fortunately he's able to stay alive. That's going to take the first round convincingly. 3-0 champions.
Round 2, fight.
Luminus, another really good start for Ranger. Spawning near heavy armor and your 3 vital items all together. I mean, Ranger with the armor, rocket, rail, all together at this stage. It's one of the best starts you can have on this map, I think. And he didn't even need the dire orb for it too, so he still got his ability.
Latrommi starting off with the Anarchy once again. Not a big surprise.
It's one rail, but they trade. But at this stage, Latrommi is the one that can't afford to take one more. Scratch that, now he's got heavy armor. Almost a minute in and no real conflict so far. But hang on, there's the jump pad. Anarchy's going to have the bonus of that increased air mobility, but yeah, there's no way he's going through that teleporter. Far too obvious.
I wonder if we're ever going to see a tri-bolt kill.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I doubt we'll see it today. Maybe a last-minute resort, but I feel like it's so easy to get the weapons that you need. Manually going to the tri-bolt for a frag is so unlikely.
Well, a lot of weapons kind of have individual utility, right? Like even nail gun gives you a few jump potential. Super shotgun is situational but has a place. Machine gun, same thing, especially on Corrupted Keep.
I feel like tri-bolt is pretty much a rocket launcher if you don't have a rocket launcher. And then you get a rocket launcher and you never have to use the tri-bolt again.
That makes sense. Latrommi's going to try and top himself back up again.
In my opinion.
I believe I heard him use his injection. Was taken down quite low.
How often will Latrommi be able to use his injection? Will he be able to maximize the increased health? Because he's taking minimal damage so far. He's not really being forced to, but neither player wants to overextend. It's a level of passiveness that they were playing really explosive and fast-paced in the other 2 maps. However, we're now on 1-1. Whoever loses this map is out of the championship for good.
I mean,
and I think that it's starting to set in. You can see it.
Latrommi dominated map 2. Corrupted Keep was his map 3. But this was Luminus's choice, and Latrommi is clearly not looking anywhere near as comfortable on this map.
I think that's because he just looked so unbelievably good on Corrupted Keep. It's going to be hard for any map to make him look as strong.
Especially when he is currently down.
Latrommi, though, got him down to 58 HP. If he can get him in 3 seconds, he might be able to get him before the Mega. Overextending a little bit, but missing rails for days. If even one of those connected, he would have not only have taken the lead, but he would have been able to steal away the Mega Health. Very unfortunate that he missed those. He hasn't been punished with a frag yet, though, so it could definitely be worse. But shades of the last round, Mustard. 3 minutes in, and not a single frag. Barely even a fight this time.
At least by this time, last round, one champion had been taken down, but now we are still dead even. We might find ourselves in that position where we just have one frag for the whole round, and this will be the matchup we see.
It's going to be hard to top a close overtime scenario since Toxic versus Ron. All the way back in week number 1, top 16, where it went on for seemingly a million years. And it was a close game. But that was even in week 1. We haven't seen anything that close since.
Oh, nice mid-air shot. Latrommi in trouble now. Pop the ejection, trying to juke back and forth. You can see him making himself as hard hit as possible.
And it actually worked, taking minimal damage. Is he going to get headed off? No, Latrommi doubles back. A good read. Just like that. 1 minute warning.
1 minute warning.
Now, health all just zips past. You can see it though. I mean, both of them, they just want to make sure they're as stacked as possible, but sooner or later, they're going to have to fight. Who do you reckon's going to be the one to start it?
It's more likely to be Luminus if he manages to land a good rail on Latrommi and he forces him to run, especially now he's just picked up that Mega. If he hits anything significant on Latrommi here, I'm willing to think he's
ran away.
it. I think Latrommi doesn't want to fight unless the fight is on his terms, especially seeing as he hasn't got as much health or as much armor.
Yeah, this is looking like a one frag round.
I'm willing to say it will be, for sure.
Oh, nearly good shot from Latrommi, but he immediately runs away. I think he saw that the heavy armor was there and didn't want to overcommit to a fight that he was going to be massively down in resources for.
He's tried to trade it for the Mega, but yeah, no doubt Latrommi caught sight of him there, trying to sort of deny his entry with those rockets onto Mega, and he does manage to take it. 5 seconds away from sudden death. This is going to be a one frag round, and it's a round that Latrommi undoubtedly needs. Now, sudden death at the last possible minute! Latrommi gets the rail he was looking for all game.
Perfect timing as well. Like as soon as we went to sudden death, he got the frag, and it was indeed one frag round and round 2 complete. Are we going to find ourselves with another last round situation on our hands?
There is nothing I would like to see more in this set. These two guys have been playing out of their minds so far. The second map was super dominant for Latrommi, and he was on the verge of taking some good momentum and running away with it, but Luminus denying that momentum with his own map of Blood Covenant. With what's on the line, I definitely saw a 100 damage there, and I think Latrommi saw it as well. I think he's turned the dial up a little bit.
There's the mid-air.
He just needs to breathe on Luminus now.
This is the Latrommi we're used to seeing. The die roll comes out.
But he had no LG, but it didn't matter. I was a little bit worried for a second because he didn't have the LG.
Yeah, and out of nowhere, Latrommi just goes back to the tried and true. That's the aggression we saw from him earlier on, especially in map number 2 from Corrupted Keep, but there we go. And in 30 seconds, he bags his first frag of this next round.
That does mean now that the pressure is on Luminus. He's used his Ghost Walk already.
And we're just Luminus is trying to fight. He has a super shotgun. Oh, goodbye. Punk's not dead, but Anarchy is.
Oh, the super shotgun has the absolute best sound effect in the whole game. 3. 1 minute left. Well, on the board, I should say. Definitely not 1 minute left.
Not quite. No 2-minute rounds here, and this one Corrupted Keep, and Latrommi's in the driver's seat.
Both of them with Nyx. This is going to be quite an interesting exchange, actually, because it's quite slow-paced as is. But now, when Nyx is in a spot of bother, she has that Ghost Walk. So I feel like it's going to be a very similar sort of general game plan with how they're establishing distance. They're not fighting unless they're ready. But now, you've also got the extra element of having to get the Ghost Walk out of them before you can do anything else.
But as is usually in the mirror, when it's like the same champion versus the same champion, it's almost like a game of chicken. Who's going to pop the ability first?
The fight's definitely going to be in 2 stages. The first call is going to be, get it out. Get the invisibility away. Oh, almost didn't have the chance.
Direct, but Latrommi is going to get that point-blank rail. That would have been death if he'd missed that.
That was a brave rail to go for that exact reason. If he missed that, he was over. Staying true and keeping his aim. No matter what's on the line, making sure your execution is as on point as possible. A very important element if you're going to qualify for regionals. You've got to prove that you can keep it together and prove that you have clutch. Oh, wow. Rails. Luminus can't afford to take a single more. And here we go. Oh, he reacted. Nice insurance policy with that piercing sight. Don't let yourself get snuck up on.
That is something we don't see often. When piercing sight is used to defend yourself from a ghost walk, he popped it just to stop himself getting followed, and it made Latrommi run away. Oh, yeah, can't be following this too much. I've actually seen quite a surprising lack of lightning gun this game. I think it's because that rocket and rail, most of the damage is coming from that sort of mid to long range distance.
However, with 2 minutes left, Latrommi with that champion advantage means he can be patient if he wants. There's the read on the armor. Managed to get one rail, but you can see Latrommi does not want to overextend. As much as he would like a second rail, he doesn't want to get tagged unnecessarily and chased down.
Oh! Oh, he popped the piercing sight. He knows where he is. He's following him, but can't commit too hard. Probably putting yourself through a corridor in the face of a rocket launcher. A minute and a half left to go. Latrommi has the champion lead. Oh, but a big shot coming out from Luminus.
He's in danger. He's only got 74 health left. That's a rail he cannot afford to take.
Yeah, notice he seeks out the armor before health, because what use is having full health if you still die to a one rail?
Here comes the chase with the double back.
Oh, cheeky!
That was...
Latrommi just played him hard.
That was. Ran rings around him. Uh-oh. That's the piercing sight.
Latrommi knows where he is, but he's going to have Ghost Walk to escape even if he does start to fight here. And Luminus tanks 100 rocket.
Does he even need it with 100 rocket, putting him so close to death? There he is. He's going for the chase. He understands that he has to. Hasn't seen the invisibility. Oh, catches him mid-air. Now he's in trouble. He goes in for the teleporter. He has no rails left. He had no ammo.
Wow. What a terrible time to run out of ammo.
I don't think any of us expected him to have no rails left. That's the last thing I looked at.
Uh-oh, behind him. Luminus is chasing him down. 20 seconds left to get this kill.
Oh, he gets it. Wow. All because Latrommi had no rails left to go. If only he had one single shot, this round would have been so different.
We've already talked today at length about how you have to think about a million different things at once. Ammo count is one of them. Not every day you have to see that.
And, speaking of which, Luminus also 3 rockets left. He hasn't got much left either.
Luminus had to fight desperately to get that fight, but losing all of his rocket ammo is going to be quite a disaster unless he can top himself up. Can he get it? I mean, it doesn't look like Latrommi is quite in range to stop him. Okay, there we go. Gets himself another 10.
He hasn't got piercing sight, so he hasn't seen him. He took a free rail now. He's going to go in for the armor. A nice rail. Latrommi, if he gets a couple more, he's going to be good. There's that piercing sight activated. Luminus no doubt heard it.
All right, it's the match of two very evil sounding Russian machine men. Oh, there's a piercing sight. He's hunting him down.
As you can see, Luminus trying Latrommi, I should say, trying so hard to cover his bases. The second you hear it, but you can't see it.
Oh, he jumps down with him.
That's going to be enough. Oh! The exchange.
Hey, that was a vicious fight at the end there, but Luminus is going to be able to come off ahead, and now he finds himself on match point to advance in what has been, I think, the definition of a back-and-forth set from start to finish between these two guys.
Yeah, many of our series today have gone a very similar way. People have, I mean, they're playing like a couple of people that desperately want to qualify for the championships, and this is their last chance. Well, they're pulling out all the stops.
Let us not forget that Latrommi, he really likes establishing that early aggression. If he can get that early frag, he will start to run rings around you, but kind of needs that crucial frag early to make it happen.
Luminus unable to detect Latrommi so far, but he's nice and loaded up. With the exception of Lightning Gun, he has everything he needs. Now, he has got everything he needs.
Especially to deal with the squishy Anarchy. Completely. There we go, yeah, trading him out again.
Caught sight of him. I think no doubt they clocked each other there. It's going to be a little bit easier for Anarchy to use these jump pads as well because of his air movement. He's not going to be as vulnerable to the guaranteed gravity that a jump pad brings. Nice try of LG, going in for the kill. Catches the injection, but it's not enough!
As soon as Luminus heard him pick up that heavy armor, he immediately went around the corner and started to attack. He was just waiting for that audio cue. Oh, that's bad news for Latrommi.
That is bad news. And he's staying there. He's staying put.
He thought she went up to the rocket and could not be more wrong. Latrommi kept alive.
That was a very gutsy read to just stay put, but it worked out. He heard the armor, no doubt he's turning around to finish the job.
Ghost walk. This could be death, and it is.
Oh,
Latrommi forced to make this full comeback with just Visor. 3 champions to take down. This is not a good situation for him to be in.
If Latrommi wants to stay alive in the Quake World Championships, he has to earn it right now. There is no other option. 3 champions straight, or you're done. With Luminus as consistently stacked as he is. He's going in with the LG, misses the dire orbs. That might be a lifeline. Is it going to be enough though? No, he still has so much health. He set that back.
Yeah, Latrommi running towards the center room. He definitely doesn't want anything else to do with this fight.
I don't think Latrommi wants to fight unless he is completely stacked up. And I don't blame him. Because not only do you need to survive this fight, you need to then survive the next one and make sure you have enough health for that too. It's not just going to be this fight. You've got to think of what's happening next. You've always got to be thinking ahead. What happens next after this play? There's the rocket jump.
Surprises him. There's a 92 damage. That's going to hurt a lot.
Latrommi forced to run. Luminus looking to head him off, trying to predict where he's going to run, listening out for the sound cues. Catches an air rail. Latrommi's in big trouble. He teleports towards it. Goes in for the rail. There we go. Luminus manages to take out Latrommi, and he will be moving on to regionals as well.
He just hunted him down at the end there, and he got that kill for his trouble. Really good series between the two of them. Let's not forget, map number 1 was very much an exchange between the two. Map number 2 was the complete opposite. Latrommi absolutely dominated in what was the fastest map we've seen all day so far, hands down. And map number 3 was very much a bit of a mixture, I think. But all in all, well played. And we'll be seeing Luminus again at regionals in a few weeks' time.
So, in fact, did manage to sort of break that week 1 pattern where you'd make week 1 and then week 4 and wasn't quite able to do it. So far, if you've made week 1 and you're in this top 16, you've made it through to regionals.
Hey man, 4 weeks of practice. That is a clean month of practice time put to good use. And now both players today that we had in top 16 for week 1 so far have both qualified. After playing very well, changing up the lineup a little bit here and there, and ultimately just playing very clean.
But this was the change in momentum when Latrommi went for Corrupted Keep, and we weren't 100% sure at first, but we saw the saw lag and went, well, he has a lot more speed on his side because he's got Anarchy, he's got a lot more health on his side because he has saw lag, and this was just destruction. This was by far the fastest map we've had today, and at no point did Luminus even stand a chance, but then the map changed to Blood Covenant, which was Luminus's map choice. So it clearly was not as much of a dominant map for Latrommi, because I think it would have been hard to beat how strong he looked on Corrupted Keep. But at the end of the day, Luminus just closed it out. There were a couple of really clutch exchanges there at the far end, and Luminus just had more of what it took at the last minute, I think, and we will be seeing him at the regionals later on in a few weeks.
Indeed, and this will be sort of near the end. I believe this was almost, yeah, that was the first kill of what was the final round. And Luminus just taking it down to that lone visor. Just ultimately just didn't have what it took to make a full comeback. We keep seeing that a lot today, that people are forced to make a clean 3 champion kill comeback. And we see it a few times, but it is difficult and it is very situational.
And when it really matters too, like in the last minute when you've got to win the round, we see it at the start of a game. That's quite consistent, but by the end, as the pressure starts to add up, I think it becomes a little bit harder to stay composed to pull something like that off. But, you know, never say never. This game is full of unpredictability. Rounds can be 5 minutes, rounds can be 10 minutes, or they can be 30 seconds. It just depends on how the map goes. Well, we get our next map and series underway in this qualification process. We're going to go to another quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.